Oklahoma is back in the college football playoff, and we got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today we got to talk about Lincoln Riley Sooners back in the college football playoff for the fourth time. Now, that is more than anybody not named Alabama, who ain't going to be in it, or Clemson, who most definitely is going to be in it. And Ohio State's catching up, and Ohio State might have the best college football team in America. But first, about Oklahoma, and we got to talk about how the Sooners got here. Because the Sooners were cruising right along as one of the best teams in college football. Through the top five is where they were looking to get by November 1. But as I have pointed out, Oklahoma has not made it through the month of October undefeated in any season since 2004. Something always happens, whether it's Texas, which didn't happen this year, where Oklahoma played one of its best football games, and its signature win came against the Texas Longhorns. It came not against West Virginia, who they skull dragged as the Sooner schooner tipped over in that game. And that's the most memorable part of the skull dragging of West Virginia. Austin Kendall making his return to Norman was a far second, like just way behind. And then you go to Manhattan and you run into these things called the Kansas State Wildcats, and they hand you your head. Now, the scoreboard said 48-41, and if Oklahoma recovers an onside kick late, maybe we're not even talking about that game as one that they lost. But Chris Kleinman and Courtney Messingham and Scotty Hazelton all came out with an outstanding game plan. They got superhuman play out of Skylar Thompson. They got outstanding play out of James Gilbert. They had dudes coming off the edge like Wyatt Hubert who were just knowing what they wanted to do and attacking Oklahoma in all the ways that they just weren't prepared. And then the Cardiac Kids, Oklahoma Sooners, go undefeated through the month of November, have not lost a game in the month of November in like 5 years, 21 straight, and they go into the Big 12 championship game to play Baylor for the second time in a month, and they are able to hand Baylor a second L, only their second L of the season, all year, in the Big 12 championship game in overtime at Jerry World, AT&T Stadium, 30-23. But that all needed to happen, and then some. Oklahoma needed Oregon to do them a solid on Friday night and beat Utah and make it decisive. Make it the kind of thing where nobody's looking at Utah going, I don't know, that team really looked good against Oregon, and we all thought Oregon was pretty good until they took their second loss to Arizona State. Never mind that Oregon got beat by two true freshman quarterbacks. The Utah Utes go down 37-15 in the Pac-12 championship game. They have 2 losses and no conference title. They are out. And then you'll see Georgia, who might have given LSU a run for their money in a different ball game, but in the one that we saw at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the SEC championship game, LSU far and away looked the better team. Joe Burrow was out there operating, man, just moving around, shaking dudes like a bowl full of jello, showing why he was recruited to Ohio State to run their basketball on grass, their power spread, that he's got these wheels, and that these Charlie's Angels trios of wide receivers that he has at his disposal are really, really good. Jamar Chase, Terrence Marshall, and when Clyde Edwards-Helaire is doing his bit, LSU's offense is really difficult to stop. But on the other hand, the LSU defense answered the bell, man. My man, Derek Stingley out here just telling y'all what's going to happen. Pickpocketing Jake Fromm. Showing George Pickens, no, sir, you're not going to get anything and like it. I know that not having Dominique Blaylock is going to hurt you. I know that DeAndre Swift only get 2 carries in that game also does not help you, but you got this bevy of running backs, Brian Herrien, Zamir White, James Cook, and keep going here. And you have one of the best offensive lines on football. If you were going to win the game, you would have won the game, all right? So LSU, yes, far and away one of the best teams in college football, but you needed Ohio State to take their W against Wisconsin. They need to hand the L to Wisconsin, because if Wisconsin beats Ohio State, then we're talking about people really entertaining the idea of a 2-loss conference champion getting into the college football playoff for the first time ever because of how good Ohio State is, right? We all understand that between Ohio State and Clemson, you got 2 of the best college football teams in America. I know LSU fans feel some kind of way about all of this, but I'll say this. Clemson is 28-0. dating back to last season. They know how to do this. They know how to win. Ohio State has played 12 straight games against FBS opponents. 4 of their opponents that had played in a conference championship game this weekend, right? Miami of Ohio actually ended up winning the MAC championship, and you'll remember that Ohio State hung 76 on that squad. It's a really good football team out there. And I'll give the explanation. Ohio State played 3 back-to-back-to-back really good football teams in Penn State, Michigan, and then Wisconsin to finish out. You got Justin Fields out there on a sprained MCL and a brace on his left leg. Chase Young has not been neutralized. He's been very much part of what everybody's trying to stop, and he's been a very big part of their success. But J.K. Dobbins, if he gets rolling, he's going to be a low. Benjamin Victor out there making plays. When you got that going on, Chris Olave is going to get in the mix. We know this. Austin Mack is great. Garrett Wilson is going to be great. Jeff Okudah not playing a large portion of the game against Wisconsin. I also think it's going to get taken into account. But the thing now is there's a clear separation between 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And it feels this year that most people would tell you the 4 spot is just going to be the one that they got to fill into the bracket. The 4 spot is just going to be the one where everybody's like, yo, okay, we want to play that team because we don't think that that team is going to be as good as 1, 2, and 3. And Oklahoma, for the first time in a very long time, matter of fact, since the Orange Bowl, gets to operate like an underdog. And we all know that college football players and college football coaches all love to operate like underdogs. They want bulletin board material. They want people to tell them that they're out. They want everybody to show them why they're not going to win this football game, myself included in there, right? And everybody knows how I feel about this team, and it's the team that I cover. But I would add to this, there's reason for this. Jalen Hurts puts the ball on the ground, you ain't going to beat Clemson, Ohio State, or LSU. Jalen Hurts throws the ball to the other team, you ain't going to beat Clemson, Ohio State, or LSU. You're going to have to play the same clean kind of football that you play defensively. It's going to have to come downhill and tackle, and you're going to have to match up with dudes that straight up are bigger than you off the bus, and you're going to have to do it in the SEC's backyard of Atlanta if I got this thing right. I don't think there's any chance of Oklahoma playing in Phoenix, Glendale in the Fiesta Bowl. I just don't see it. State Farm Stadium. I just don't see it. So Oklahoma gets in. Now you get to saddle up. Got to go into recruiting and awards week. But man, I did not expect Oklahoma to get into this playoff at the start of November. And all the things broke well and all the things broke right. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.